including our suit wrist disconnects, were covered in Kapton tape to insulate us from working around the charged solar arrays out at the tip of the space station. I jumped on the end of this 90-foot boom. It was the Space Station Robotic Arm plus the OBSS inspection boom. And Stephanie was at the helm of the arm, very smooth flying, and I was treated to this God's eye view of the whole space shuttle as well as the space station from an incredible vantage point. About a 45-minute ride out to the work site, and at the very end of the travels, and then and only then I was able to see what had really happened. There was actually a guide wire from the solar array that had caught with one of the hinge wires. Fortunately, I had all of the proper tools to cut that out, and then we installed the cufflinks that had been assembled with supplies that were available on board the space station by George and Peggy. You can see the first half of the cufflink going in here. Went in very, very nicely, thankfully. The second one, however, was a little bit more difficult, and I really wanted my buddy Wheels up there to help me. Unfortunately, it wasn't a stable enough platform, and I needed Wheels to kind of call my clearances to this big wave of the array as I was working on it. So I ended up having to use 3 tools with just 2 hands, and developed a technique to keep myself safely away from the solar array while doing that. And it worked just as folks on the ground had predicted. We installed 5 of these cufflinks across the breadth of the solar array, and here I am doing a layback to kind of glance up at the very tip of the solar array. We spent another 15 or 20 minutes observing the deployment of the solar array, and that went perfectly, thankfully, and the solar array is now generating 100% power and taking on loads, including the new Columbus module and soon to be the Japanese module. So we consider this one of the real triumphs of the shuttle and station era, the way the team came together to develop this plan. At the end of the spacewalk, we kind of coasted back to the airlock, and it was really beautiful just to pull off with my fingertips and coast for 30 feet without touching anything. It was spectacular. And after 7 hours and 19 minutes in the vacuum of space, we came back inside for a good meal.
Mission was not finished with the Fair EVA-5. We still had a few things to do. We did some talks with the Italian president, some with former President Bush. We had things to do, transfer stuff, and of course George and I took some time to look at the station also. We did a little bit of a survey here in the Russian part, and then scooting around in the laboratory, trying not to bump the people actually working on the arm. And here's Pam moving water back and forth, and Peggy and Clay working on the Node 2, removing some of those launch restraints. Did a little bit of science, not too much, a little bit. We didn't have enough time. Here I am trying to work an experiment which is launching a ball that does not exist, kind of funny. Here we're talking to some schools in Italy using the ham radio, and this is some experiments that were brought up for Italian high schools.
And all of this was occurring, the entire mission with the Earth rotating as a backdrop below us, and we had some just spectacular views whenever we could get a chance to look outside and notice what was happening down below. These were the fires that were occurring in Southern California at the time of our mission, and they were pretty stark looking, as you can see, from 200 miles up. And the fact that we could see them was pretty amazing. These are the Alps, and that's Italy stretching out to your left. And the mountains were particularly interesting, especially out at a distance. You could actually see the three-dimensional effect as they rolled towards you or away from you. And these are the Himalayas looking out the back of Discovery. On flight day 13, it was time for us to close the hatch. Before we did that, we did some typical things that we'll do as part of our farewell. We put our mission